Oh my god, Disneyland's reopening! It's been over a year. It's been so long. Happy St. Patrick's Day, people. My name is Ryder, and today let's discuss about the new news about Disneyland finally reopening after over a year of being closed. Generally, this is great news. A lot of stuff was confirmed, a lot of stuff is still being speculated right now, but it's just out there now that we finally have an opening date, April 30th of this year, which is going to be quite the time. And confirmed by the Parks blog, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's reopening, some stuff that isn't. So let's dive into that a little bit right now. Starting with what we know for a fact that's happening. So on April 30th is officially when Disneyland and California Adventures will reopen at probably 25% capacity, but for right now 15% capacity. Reservations are required to get into the park, not just park tickets. And we do not have a day about when those reservations are going to go live yet. Stay up to date on the Parks blog if you want to find that stuff. And in addition to that, we also know that the Grand Californian Hotel is finally getting reopened the day before on the 29th. And the DVC section is going to be opening up, I believe, May 2nd or 3rd. So they basically confirmed that opening with the park will be a good majority of the rides, both indoor and outdoor, which was being speculated, you know. The only thing that remains to be seen is really about indoor dining, but it stands to reason that they'll probably be able to do it, considering they'll be allowed in the state guidelines. Although, don't take that as 100% fact. What else do we expect from this? Sadly, no big shows like fireworks, parades, nighttime spectaculars like Fantasmic or World Color for the time being. That will come at a later date. It's not gone for good, thank God. We need some Fantasmic in our lives right now, though, I will admit. But this does mean that they're going to be offering different ways of entertaining people. Most likely, with probably the Dapper Dance performing somewhere safely on Main Street away from everybody. And also potentially Five and Dime strolling up and down Buena Vista Street and Hollywood Boulevard on their bus thing. Whatever that vehicle's called, I don't know. And in addition to that, we also know that there are going to be some forms of character meet and greets or just like socially distant sightings. Like Mickey and Minnie are going to be on the train station apparently, which might hint that the railroad might not reopen with the park. Wait for Disney to officially announce that. Hopefully they can somehow work around that. But other than that, we're going to see princesses at the Royal Theater and Fantasy Fair, not the Fantasyland Theater where Mickey and Magical Map was. But this is the small theater that's next to the castle. In addition to that, there's also going to be Pixar characters at the bandstand at Pixar Pier, which is that archway with the pretty lights at night, right across from the Fun Wheel. I still call it that, even though it's called the Pala Round. In addition to all of that, I would speculate that we might see characters show up at the smaller promenade and in Toontown by the houses in a socially distanced and safe way. So let's speculate now about what's going to change when it reopens, what's going to stay closed, and how stuff might work. Let's start like all Disneyland journeys with Main Street, which will be probably similar to Disney World's operations, where it's going to be select entrances and exits that help with social distancing and crowd flow in and out of the buildings. The train may or may not be reopened. And if indoor theater attractions are allowed to open, Great Moments of Mr. Lincoln should open, and PhilharMagic and DCA in that respect should open. But don't expect any of the Main Street vehicles to be open just because that involves a lot of direct contact between guests and cast members almost. I mean, there's ways they can do it, but they're probably going to use those vehicles for the cavalcades that they'll do, which hopefully they might use the Magic Happens floats, because those are beautiful and deserve to be in their own cavalcades. And then Carnation Cafe, I do fully expect to be open, at least with the outdoor patio and some indoor seating, hopefully. Along with the Plaza Inn restaurant, because we need some of that good fried chicken in our lives. And then Jolly Holiday, hands down, will be able to open. Moving on from there, we move on to Adventureland. Not too much is going to be different. Walt Disney's Enchantica Room will have a reduced capacity and social distance seating area. The Tiki Juice Bar is probably going to be closed, so that way you can go to Tropical Hideaway and get your Dole Whip. That way it's more safe and easier for people to sit down and eat. And then moving on, we have the Adventures Oasis store. That'll be open, especially since that's an open air store. But moving on to one of the biggest attractions at Adventureland, the Jungle Cruise will probably almost definitely not be open with the park for now. That's mostly because, even though this is speculation, I believe that they're already working on the new Jungle Cruise. Given the fact that in the video announcement they show construction walls at our version, not Disney World's, because that's still in operation. But Disneyland's is under construction. Plus, they already filed permits a few months ago for it, so that's definitely indicating some work is going on already. So that probably will not be opening with the park, sadly. But thankfully, we at least have the Indiana Jones Adventure Temple of the Forbidden Eye open with reduced capacity, obviously, social distance queue, potentially fully taking up that second floor of the Jungle Cruise building. And then moving on to the Bengal Barbecue restaurant, fully open, mobile order almost. I'm pretty sure it's going to be mobile order only. And you'll still have the indoor-outdoor seating area. Then moving on to New Orleans, Pirates and Haunted Mansion should be open. They've already confirmed Haunted Mansion is reopening with some sort of new enhancements that they never talked about before. And for reference, Haunted Mansion closed before the rest of the park did because of the Haunted Mansion holiday takedown that they do every year. But it was extended longer because it's been needing refurbishment for the past 15 plus years. Pirates will open with social distance seating every other row, or at least one party in the back, one party in the front of the boat, and plexiglass in the queue. And then shops in New Orleans Square are going to be very restrictive of how many people they can let in and out, if they even reopen at all. I expect the Mint Jewel Bar to reopen, and maybe the French Market. Definitely Cafe Orleans, but probably just only the outside seating with social distance seating. Then moving on to the Haunted Mansion, I know a lot of people are going to be speculating about if it's open or not. It was in the D23 article, so, and that's officially Disney, so I would expect that to be open. But a lot of point of contention that a lot of people have is the stretching room and how that would work, considering Disney World in Tokyo, you can walk in, through, and out without having to worry about moving the floor. But Disneyland and Disneyland Paris have the actual stretching room where you sink into the ground on a gantry lift, not an elevator. So it stands to reason that we're going to have the same method that Disneyland Paris does, where you have social distance markers around the stretching room and get escorted to each spot by a cast member, and then when you exit, you'll be one party at a time, and you'll just walk right out to the Doom Buggy, so it's not too hard to believe. And then if the Disneyland Railroad does reopen, I do expect them to have a very strict amount of people in line that they can handle, considering Mansion will probably take up a lot of that space, considering everyone misses Mansion, and it's been more than a year and a half since we've had the regular Mansion too. Moving on to Critter Country, Splash Mountain should be open, Winnie the Pooh reopen, maybe socially distant Winnie the Pooh character meet and greets at Pooh Spot. The gift shop should be open in Critter Country too. Hunger Bear should be open because it's all outdoors anyway. And yeah, that's about it for there. And moving on to Galaxy's Edge, it's probably going to be almost exactly like Disney World's version, where limited attendance and rides and indoor experiences and shops. So we have special social distance queue set up outside. Limited indoor dining allowed at Docking Bay 7 and Olga's Cantina. The marketplace will have its own separate line along the forest walkway path to get in, going near the restrooms. The characters won't be walking in the crowds for now. They'll just be up on the different various platforms around the land, and you will have to have a reservation to get into Savi's or Droid Depot's Make a Droid Place. And then Doc Ondar's you're probably going to have to get a virtual queue for, considering how small that space is. But yeah, that's about it for Galaxy's Edge. Moving down south to Frontierland, there's going to be probably very limited capacity for the stores in Frontierland with dedicated entrances and exits. Golden Horseshoe, I would expect to be open, hopefully. At least Stage Door will definitely be open. They have the outdoor seating anyway that they can work with. Mark Twain and Sailing Ship Columbia should be operational. They just got refurbished anyway during quarantine, so they should be fine. Tom Sawyer's Island, I think will probably be open. Maybe just some of the caves be closed off for now because of climbing and stuff. And then Big Thunder Mountain definitely should be open, with just plexiglass at the loading area and the queues, and social distance seating in the vehicles themselves. Then moving on over to the most magical land of all, Walt Disney's favorite land, Fantasyland. This is going to be very interesting to see how they do it. The only ride I would expect not to open for now is Storybook Land, just because of the fact that it's such a small, low-capacity ride, where you have to be with a cast member, and you don't want to mix people up in the boats. Even though you have to balance the boats because you don't want to tip over. So don't expect that to be open, although Casey Jr. probably will reopen, just have one party per car of the train. And then for the dark rides, social distance queues, every party gets their own vehicle. And For the more popular ones, expect a virtual queue or something to that extent. Maybe Peter Pan's queue might go all the way by Snow White's Wishing Well and stuff. And speaking of Snow White, her new ride in Snow White's Enchanted Wish will be reopening as a fact with the park. So expect that to be pretty popular and might have a long line like Peter Pan, potentially going through the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, which will definitely be closed because touching people is not a good thing right now. Moving on, Pinocchio should be open, social distance, and hopefully they find a good place to put the strollers, because that is basically the stroller area parking for most of Fantasyland in that section. Carousel should be done with its refurbishment by the time the park opens, so it's going to be operating similar to Florida. Matterhorn operating just like Space Mountain in Florida does. It's one party per car, or at least one party per load. Social distancing in the queue. Small World, 1 or 2 parties in the boat, one at one end, one at the other end. And then we had the Fantasyland Theater, which will probably be a rest area or social distance character meet and greet spot. Train station will have social distancing if the trains are operational. I could see this being also the main train station if they open it. That way Main Street could just be characters only. New Orleans can be skipped, and you just go around the park only at Mickey's Toontown and maybe Tomorrowland. And moving on to Mickey's home of Toontown. Expect a lot of things to be closed off for now. Well, like Roger Rabbit should be open, Gadget's Go Coaster should be open, both with social distancing and plexiglass where needed. Mickey's house, Minnie's house definitely closed off. Potentially spaced out character meet and greets in front of them. Same could be said for Goofy's, although I don't think that would be the safest place for him to be. And then Donald's boat probably close off entirely. Gag Factory, if they're not already constructing on that for Runaway Railway, I would expect that to be open for now. And in addition, I'd also expect a lot of the interactive effects to be turned off for now, just because touchy, we do not want to touch. And then rounding off, we have Tomorrowland. Not too much is going to be that drastically different. Just social distancing in the queues. A lot of hand sanitizer on Buzz Lightyear. And definitely plexiglass and Star Tours. Every other row will be used, and social distance seating in between. And Space Mountain will be open, just social distancing in the vehicles, with potentially one party per car, depending on how big the groups are. Launch Bay will probably be a relaxed area where you can take off your mask. Pizza Planet will probably be reopened. Tomorrowland Terrace should be for sure open, considering that it's out in the open. Autopia is probably going to be reopened, even though it really should be just gone by now. But speaking of the only ride that we can almost confirm 100% that will never come back again, Submarine Voyage, which, yeah, it's sad that we lose a historic ride, but it's literally the opposite of being socially distant and being safe right now, given the world that we're in. So it's definitely not going to come back. And as for the monorail, it remains to be seen. It could temporarily be closed or just operate like how it did when it first opened and just only operate at the Tomorrowland station and go around the track. It remains to be seen, so that I filed that under maybe. Then moving down south to California Adventures. Everything's open, essentially. What's not open for Touch of Disney will be reopened for the park opening in time. All the rides should be open. The only things that may or may not be open are animation building, considering that's inside, and that's a lot of touching interactive stuff. Mickey's PhilharMagic, but it's an indoor theater, so you might be able to open it, especially if Universal can open up their Despicable Me ride. But yeah, everything in California Adventures should be opened. That can. But do not expect Avengers Campus to reopen with the park at all. That is slated for later this year, just because it's going to be tough enough getting the parks right now. Why would you want to have more people trying to get in? So expect an opening hopefully in the summer, depending on how things go. Hopefully sooner rather than later. That'll be updated with all the parks and vlog and stuff. As for stuff we don't know yet, we do not know about the Disneyland Hotel or the Paradise Pier Hotel, sadly. Those will probably reopen around the time the travel restrictions for California get lifted, so probably in May. At least one of those will. And we do know for a fact that only California residents can visit, sadly, so sorry out-of-staters. Just gonna have to wait just a little bit longer, but at least people are back to work, which brings us to the big positive of a lot of cast members who were furloughed are going back to work. So yeah, that just about wraps us up. If you have any questions about this reopening, let me know. Even though I'm not with the company technically, I do try to know as much as I can about everything just because I like helping people out where I can. Stuff like that, and I'll still try to act like a cast member even though I'm not with the company for now. So out of the way, hope you guys like this update. And hopefully you guys are looking forward to this opening as much as I am. It's a great light at the end of the tunnel moment for me. Finally having the place I like to call home open, and at least have the option to be able to go in there rather than just being saying no by the government. But until next time, guys, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube jazz, and I hope to see y'all real soon.